And I have to tell you, there are plenty of American Zionists who think this way. This is not unique to Israelis.
So let's a little bit more. Here we go.
Everybody there dies. It's just the way we feel. It's just the way Israelis feel.
Yeah.
Because, and this is what that's what the Hulon attack did. I wrote to Sharon, my wife. I was like, it'll be you or me tomorrow, or Daniela or Eytan, God forbid.
Yep.
And so I would, if you gave me a button to just erase Gaza, every single living being in Gaza would no longer be living tomorrow, I would press it in a second. That's just, I think most Israelis
if
probably
that's
agree.
The choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, even if it's not like right now.
Yeah, no.
I would press it right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same with the territories.
I would press it right now.
Mm-hmm.
No choice. No, Sharon is safe at home. God willing, I don't know. I haven't spoken to her in like an hour.
No, I'm saying for the chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would press it right now. Give me that button and press it right now.
There you go.
And I think most Israelis would.
Yeah. Most Jewish Israelis.
They wouldn't post. They wouldn't talk about it like I am.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't post. They wouldn't say I pressed it.
Yeah.
But they would.
They don't have balls of steel like you.
They would, but they would press it, right? Like if they were in a closet alone, they wouldn't even hesitate.
Mm-hmm.
Someone came to them and said, "No one will know. You press this, all the Palestinians are gone." You'd be like, "Fucking hey, is there another one?" But seriously, you guys like that. That's what people don't understand. Look, like I know that you guys might be appalled by this, some of the listeners, but seriously, this is how Israelis feel. And you might think that Eytan Weinstein and Naor, who like refuses to kind of back me up on it publicly.
I'm from the UN.
Yeah, he's the UN. But you might think I'm extreme. But I have conversations with lots of people, coworkers, friends. People enjoy knowing that they are suffering.
No, also it's very prominent on Twitter.
That is the weirdest thing I think I've ever heard. That we could be at a music festival, we enjoy knowing that they're suffering. So let me just again, this is all mind blowing to me. Like I can't really get over it. I can't wrap my mind around it. So go. I'll give it to my two nice Jewish boys on my show, and they can respond to the two nice Jewish boys.
Well, these are psychologically damaged people. These are clearly broken people, and this is a point that Russ makes better than I do. So I figured I'd tee that up for you in case you want to catch that pitch. But you could take it your own way, and then I have a slightly different angle on this. But go ahead.
Yeah, I had seen the first clip. I didn't see the second clip. Yeah, that is just incredibly sick. What's really remarkable about these disgusting Nazi pigs is that they think that they are fighting anti-Semitism when these people are like they're like a bomb of anti-Semitism. These people are Typhoid Mary of anti-Semitism. It is, how do people watch that? And if you don't know about Jews, you don't know Jewish people who are not rabid Zionists, they have spent decades, they've spent almost a century inculcating people around the world with the idea that Jews are Zionists and Zionists are Jews, that there is no daylight between those things. So what are people to make of the Jewish people if they are convinced that Zionists are by definition Jews and Jews are by definition Zionists when they hear something so sick, so satanic as this? Now, I cannot recommend this book highly enough. I urge everybody who wants to understand how these two disgusting people with these kinds of views would feel comfortable expressing this on the air as if it's funny, as if that's okay to say things like that, even if they harbor it. If you want to understand how they got there, read 10 Myths About Israel by Ilan Pappé. That will really explain to you that this demonic, this satanic, this genocidal Israeli state is not something that happened over time. It's not something that happened after October 7th. This is what the Zionist project has always been. This is why most Jews, until after the Holocaust, opposed the idea of resettling in Israel. The people who actually first promoted this were British Zionists like Lord Palmerston in the 1840s, who partly wanted to put Jews in Palestine for the same reason that we like them there now, because as RFK said, there are aircraft carrier in that region. We use them as a military base, essentially, for operations. We use their intelligence services to manipulate that region, to inform on the other countries in that region. It was also anti-Semitism. These Christian Zionists didn't like Jews. They thought a very good solution to that problem would be send them back where they came from. Send them back to Palestine. Send them over there. And that way, it's win-win. They can live over there. We don't have to have any Jews polluting Europe. And they can act as our agents in the Middle East. And that is very much the function they still serve. Now, if you look at the early inception of Zionism, the early projects, Ben-Gurion, who was the first prime minister of Israel, when he first got there, he didn't like that Zionists were working with and often for Arabs. He didn't like that. He didn't want them to have that kind of economic and social interaction. Why? Because Zionism was always envisioned as a project of ethnic cleansing at best and genocide at worst. You can't genocide people that you have a close relationship with, that you work for. They work for you. You can't have that. So like any cult, he made a point of breaking those relationships between the native Arabs who lived in the region and the Zionist settlers who were coming in. Every opportunity they've ever had, from the 1967 war to the 1973 war to the Oslo so-called peace process, every opportunity they've had to create a pretext to kill more Palestinians and steal more of their land, they've taken that opportunity while crying victim. So when you look at these two, they have been convinced, brainwashed, and indoctrinated that these Palestinians are Nazis, that they're the Nazis, that they're the Nazis who did these things to their ancestors, that they have unreasoning hatred of Jews, that the Jews, every Zionist you talk to thinks that Israel has constantly tried to make peace with them and offer them reasonable settlements, and they've only been repaid with violence. It's a complete distortion of history. But that is what they believe. That is what they've been brainwashed to believe. So where they're coming from is they have been convinced that they're surrounded by Nazis who won't take any peace offer that is given. So, well, what else do? Well, you have to kill them all.
Well, and the reason I say they're psychologically broken, I mean, that's a broken person who would say a thing like that. That's not a normal person who would say things like that. And they went on for a whole hour, which I'll get to in a short moment. But they have projected onto the Palestinian people the evil that was perpetrated against their ancestors. They feel great generational shame. Shame has been passed down from their ancestors. A lot of men in the camps felt very emasculated and deballed by the fact that they were not able to effectively fight back against the Nazis, that they were not able to protect their families from the Nazis. And the way they feel strong now is to take that anger and that rage and that sense of failure out on a population that cannot defend itself. And that's what I mean. Like that is just a person with something broken inside that would say a thing like that. Now, the point I have to make here, this episode here, this whole podcast, the Two Nice Jewish Boys podcast, I'm a little bit conflicted as to how to approach this, because if there's two things in this world I can't stand, it's Israel and censorship. I hate both of those things with a passion. And I cannot, on principle, advocate for the deplatforming of these guys, but it does have to be said. These video clips are from a podcast that is up on YouTube as we speak, on a channel that is fully monetized as we speak. Now, you're going to tell me that if we said what they are saying about Israel, we wouldn't be thrown off YouTube in a minute.
Right.
If we said this shit about Israel, our channels would be down in half a day.
Yep. In half an hour.
Half an hour. Half an
If
hour.
I could push a button and kill everyone in Israel,
Yeah.
I would. That would be the end of the channel.
That's
We'd
the
be
end of the
gone.
channel. That's the end of the channel. Now, look, in principle, I can't advocate for their censorship. They have a right to say whatever disgusting shit they want, and we have a right to give our take. So I can't, on principle, advocate for them to be shut down. But the unfairness of it is striking. I mean, Richard Medhurst got his channel demonetized right after October 7th. Jackson Hinkle's been thrown off of YouTube entirely for telling the truth about the Ukraine war. These two pieces of garbage can say, who cares if babies die of polio? And if I could push a button and kill everyone in Gaza and nothing happens, that's not hate speech. That's not, look, you could argue there's no such thing as hate speech, right? That's a sound argument. Hate speech is a construct to justify censorship. So you could say that. But as long as YouTube has hate speech rules, are you kidding? Are you kidding?
So the only good thing is that if they were censored like everybody else is censored on YouTube, I would never know that these people think like this.
Well, no, absolutely. That's why you're right. I'm not advocating for that. I'm just pointing out the inconsistency.
It's very useful to me to know what we're actually dealing with. Like that is so far beyond anything honest that you could press a button and wipe out an entire, like that, women, children, babies, doesn't matter.
Because understand, they have been convinced that they are surrounded by the spiritual heirs of the Nazi Party. That is how they've been brainwashed from birth.